Welcome in to Palmetto Sports Daily on this fine Monday. Caroline Soro here, joined by Bronwyn Story and the Julia Westerman. And gals, we have quite a bit of basketball to talk about, which, kind of works out where we're in the middle of June. We don't really have a lot of things to bounce off of each other, but the Hornets are just giving us all kinds of stuff to work with this week. So in the wake of the huge blockbuster LaMelo Ball trade that Charlotte made with the Minnesota Timberwolves last week in exchange for Naz Reid and a whole lot of other draft picks, they're now back in the blockbuster conversation, although this one, I don't know if I would call it a blockbuster. That might be a little bit of a overrated statement there, but they have sent Miles Bridges, their longest tenured player, somebody who has been with the organization for the last 7 seasons since they drafted him, to the Phoenix Suns in exchange for Grayson Allen, Royce O'Neal, and a whole lot of other draft picks. So it's a move that, again, surprised me. I feel like I just keep staying surprised by this Hornets crew, at least in the last 10 days or so, because it felt like they had a really good thing going. I mean, they were 1 game away from making their first playoff appearance in 10 seasons, snapping the longest active drought in the league with the young core that they had. Miles Bridges, again, part of that, one of the guys that made LaMelo Ball, Con Knippel, and Brandon Miller look pretty good. He was a key factor in that offense. He averaged 17 points per game last season, and all of a sudden, he's been shipped off to Phoenix. So Phoenix actually tried to come out and get Bridges 2 years ago. It didn't work. Now the Suns have him. So kind of an interesting situation because it frees up a little bit more trade exception. Charlotte had quite a bit of trade exception after the LaMelo Ball trade, $40 million to play with. This trade with Bridges frees up a little bit more. So it seems like the Hornets are trying to maybe gather their assets together with some draft picks and also having a little bit of extra money to play around with so that they can go in and make a big move. So before we kind of get to the conversation of what's going on with the big move, just immediate reactions to this trade and breaking up the crew that was fun to watch last season for, lack of any other explanation. I mean, 24-game improvement, making it into the NBA play-in game, coming up just barely short in that game against the Magic. Just you guys, your initial reaction to what's going on with the Hornets? I mean, do we believe in what Jeff Peterson in the front office is doing with this team right now? Because there are a lot of people who are on both sides of the river. People who are like, yeah, let's go on and improve. And other people that are like, what in the world are you doing? This is the first time Charlotte Hornets basketball has been fun in, who knows how long. So, Julia, I'll start with you. Just immediate reaction to the Miles Bridges trade yesterday.
Yeah, I'm not going to say that I'm a Charlotte Hornets expert by any means, but just looking at this baseline of, looking back at how last season ended and just how close they were, the way that you were saying, when you look at a team, any sort of team that gets that close and you think that they're going to build upon that, I think that's what is most interesting in this situation to me, because it seems like you're on the cusp of doing something great and now you're kind of trading some of those players away. And so I am very curious about the thought process of, have they identified exactly who they think is, the future of this team, and that's who they're building this roster around, and so that's what they're trying to go out and get. And not to say that, LaMelo Ball, Miles Bridges weren't important to last year's run or anything like that, but have they maybe just, tried to put all of their, attention and focus on the rest of these guys, and then they're trying to fill in some other gaps? I just thought it was very interesting because, like you said, they were so very close, and it seemed like they were going to build upon that. So I'm very curious to see how this all shakes out and if there's anything else that they're still going to do. Because, I mean, the free agency period hasn't even started. These deals haven't officially gone through yet. So who knows what they could still do, Bronwyn?
Yeah, I think time will tell on this, right? I think that's going to be the ultimate whatever we can look back on. Maybe in a year we look back on this and this is the best decision they've ever made. Those picks that they got back, okay, so they trade Miles Bridges. They also trade a 2029 first-round pick, a 2027 second-round pick, and then in return they get guard Grayson Allen from Phoenix, forward Royce O'Neal, and a 2033 first-round pick. As you guys mentioned, Bridges is a veteran on this team. 17 points a game, that's pretty good. But like I said, I think time will tell on this. Apparently, they see something that we don't. They're obviously looking, I think, to build around that young core that they have. And they really feel that Maybe it's something as simple as dropping dead weight. I don't know. Maybe they don't see the production out of the guys, or maybe they're changing schematically, and these guys that they're going to bring in are going to fit that a little better for next season. I totally get the fans' frustration when you have a team that did so well last season, and now you're kind of blowing it apart at the very core of it. But I think time will tell. I think Charlotte, I don't know. They must see something that we don't.
I just want to point out something funny that I saw earlier today. I don't know if the tweet was necessarily about the Hornets, but it definitely applies here. When you're talking about 2033, this tweet was like, we got a bunch of 2023 first-round picks. I need the 7th graders to lock in. That's so crazy because that's exactly what it is. You're dealing with these 2030s picks. When these kids are still in middle school, they're deep in AAU ball right now. Like, they're not even close to sniffing the NBA. And we're talking about, we're sending Miles Bridges to Phoenix for a future 7th grader. That's hilarious to me.
No, but it's so funny though, because basketball is so like that. Like, if you think about, just think about how many roster spots are available in the NBA. Like, very different from the NFL, the NHL, like anything like that, where you only have 5 guys on the floor at one time, right? So your roster is so different. So the spots are so limited. So then recruiting becomes such a big deal, where a lot of these kids who are in 7th grade and in AAU and whatever have eyes on them. Think about, we've been talking about LaMelo Ball. Think about LaMelo Ball. That's a kid that, he's not a kid anymore. We're probably about the same age, but that was a kid who had eyes on him in that same way in 7th grade, where people were probably like thinking about, oh, he's going to be the whatever pick when 2020 whatever rolls around. So it is kind of interesting. But also I do think that Jeff Peterson is taking a little bit of a page out of Sam Presti's book with the Oklahoma City Thunder, because remember back when they traded for Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and they started racking up all these draft picks, and everybody was kind of like, all right, like that franchise has been in the dirt for however many years, since James Harden, Russell Westbrook, and Kevin Durant were all on the same team. And then all of a sudden they get all these draft picks and they go out and they win it all last year, and they're going to be a consistent contender for as long as they have a lot of those young guys on their team. So it's definitely kind of interesting, because it seems like Jeff Peterson is preparing for what's going to happen in 7 years from now. But at the same time, it's like you had something that was really good, it seemed like, at least from the outside looking in. But to Bronwyn's point, they know LaMelo Ball better than everybody else, right? The guy is only, the most games he's played in a season in his entire career has been 73, and that was the year after he was drafted. He played 72 games this past season. That was the healthiest he's been in years, and he still missed a lot of time with his ankle that's pretty questionable. So maybe they're trying to offload somebody that's injury prone and get somebody who's a little bit more durable. It's just, it's chess, not checkers, I think, Julia, but it is kind of interesting to watch with, what we don't know, and just having to assume that the experts in the room know.
Plenty of that, and I'm sure we'll see plenty more blockbuster trades this summer as the offseason continues. But hey, the WNBA is well into their season now, and we're going to talk about something that we talk about all the time. A'ja Wilson doing something that nobody else has, and she did that again this past weekend. She's the first player in WNBA history to put up 30-plus points, 15-plus rebounds, and she also had 4 steals and 3 blocks. So really impressive performance against the Sky, and it was a game that they weren't even really content with. The Aces weren't against Chicago. They say that they still have more that they can unlock and be better, specifically with defense, but in terms of A'ja, she's playing really well. She's averaging 25.7 points per game, 9.5 rebounds, about 3 assists, and 1.5 steals per game. So A'ja's gonna A'ja. She is always, it seems like cooking everybody in the league, and she is such an exciting player to watch, and I love that we're always able to talk about her, because people are still so invested in her career here in Columbia, because this is where it all got started. This video right now, of course, from when the Aces came and played in the preseason at the CLA, but she was asked about these milestones and if there's something that she even thinks about.
I don't really pay attention to it, honestly. When you guys tell me these things, I'm kind of like, oh, cool. Like, it's just one of those moments where I come to work and hopefully I can do my job the right way. That's the biggest thing that I want to do, is obviously having my name on these lists and making history is always great, because it gives you an opportunity to be amongst the greats. But I never really look at it as like, oh, I have to do this and I got to get this or I'm close to this. Could care less. My biggest thing is making sure that I'm available and showing up for my teammates every single day, and I hope that I can do that.
Impressive player, and it feels like she's still only just getting started with her career. All right, we're going to take a quick break here. We'll be right back.
Welcome back into Palmetto Sports Daily. We're going to start talking a little soccer, or football as we're calling it this summer, with the FIFA World Cup going on. Team USA is taking on Bosnia and Herzegovina on Wednesday in its first knockout game. The round of 32 got started on Sunday, so there's a couple teams that have already been eliminated. It's ongoing for the next week or so, and it's the USA's first elimination game. So going to be interesting. The USA almost pulled off its perfect group stage outing for the first time ever in team history, but got beat out 3-2 by Turkey. Turkey, still unclear on what we're doing there, but they got beat out 3-2 in literally the final play of the game. They gave up a goal. But anyways, it was still a good showing for the United States because they started all of their non-starters. It was pretty much all second stringers with the exception of maybe one or two guys who kind of had to jump into a starting role in a couple of the other games due to some injuries to the starters, but still kind of a, good note to leave on for the United States when you come out and barely get beat when you have your second string group out there. That said, Bosnia and Herzegovina is not going to be a slouch coming up on Wednesday. They did finish third in their group, but they had similar record to the United States. They won 3 games, they lost 1, they finished with 4 points. So going to be an interesting outing, but guys, I just have to ask you while we're talking about the World Cup, Bronwyn, I mean, did you think the United States was going to get to this point? There were a lot of people that were doubting this team before the World Cup started, but in those first 2 games, and even at times in that third game on Friday night, this team seems like they've got it going on. I mean, Mauricio Pochettino's got this team in a good place, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I think they got hot at the right time, right? We talk about that a lot on this show, teams that just kind of peak at the right time. I think the national team is one of them. Now they're going to have to break the European curse. U.S. team, has lost 10 straight matches against European opponents. The last time that they beat a European team was more than 5 years ago. So this game this week, I did say, if anybody watched last week, I think it was, I don't know what day it is, I said I don't think they're going to make it past this week. I said I think Bosnia is going to knock them out in the knockout round. So we'll see if they can break the European curse. When you're talking about European countries, technical ability, they're more of a soccer culture. That's kind of their, right, what we would call our football. But I don't know. I think it's going to be interesting. I love a knockout round. I didn't like that they sat all there. I feel like it's not sportsmanlike to sit all your guys to save them. The old heads would agree with me. But Julia, what do you think?
I'd like to think that past stats don't mean anything. I'm going to go with this is a different team that people are really excited about. I think there was so much talk about like how well they could do in their group, and then they did it. And arguably they should have won that game against Turkey. It was kind of inexcusable. And to that point, they should have maybe played some of their players that could have won them the game, but I do understand both sides of the argument because they already knew they were advancing to the knockout stage. But, while they haven't beat anybody from Europe in a really long time, no time like the present, the week of our 250th anniversary as a country.
Woo!
Why not? Why not us? Why not now? I think that they at least advance to the round of 16.
Yeah, I don't think that's a crazy statement. Like I said, I was probably kind of feeling the way that Bronwyn was feeling leading up to this World Cup, just being like, all right. Some of the stuff that I had heard floating around was that maybe there wasn't a huge expectation for this team this year, but it seems like they have this new life, and to the point of, when a hot team gets hot, when you're playing well, you're playing well, and it seems like this team is in a very good spot, especially with Pochettino leading it. It seems like it's in a much better spot than it was the last time the United States States was in a World Cup and it was under different leadership and there was just kind of a lot of underlying things that are going on there. But it seems like the vibes are good, like everybody's here, they want to win, like people are invested. And I think it's really fun. I mean, it's awesome too, like July 4th week, the whole country gets to cheer on the United States of America on July 1st. I mean, that's pretty exciting. There's going to be a lot of watch parties here in Greenville, I think, of people just getting into it and getting really excited. And that's kind of one of the cool things about this World Cup, has been watching the way that it's brought people together and just kind of, everybody's having a good time and cheering them on. So I don't know how far they make it. I would say that the round of 16 is probably pretty appropriate, just with the other two opponents that they could potentially play on the other side between Belgium and Senegal if they were to win on Wednesday. That said, they did beat Senegal in the friendly up in Charlotte a couple weeks before the World Cup started. I was there. It was electric. They looked great. They had a couple things to grow on defensively. That said, that's why you play a good team like Senegal when you're in the friendly, because you can learn from that. If they end up facing them again, that could be really interesting in the round of 16. But just going to be something we're going to keep an eye on for you guys. We did mention July 4th. We're going to talk a little bit more about that when we come back from this break.
All right, everyone, I would argue this is the best week of the year, and it's not because we're celebrating the 250th anniversary of our country. That's a given. We know that. But it's because it is time for the second annual Palmetto Sports Daily 4th of July food draft. Everybody give it a round of applause. All right, little backstory. I'm the only vet of the draft here, as I drafted with Kevin and Carmine last year, which, by the way, there will be 2 iterations of this draft this week. The rest of our Palmetto Sports team will draft on, I believe, Wednesday. But the only person not included in this year's draft will be Carmine Jamay. He is banned after the egg dog atrocity that he committed. It is not because he's on vacation.
Fair enough.
It is because he committed crimes that are worthy of being banished to the moon. Anyways, so how this is going to work? We've got 4 different categories: mains, sides, desserts, drinks. We're going to come out with 5 items each. You can pick anything you want, but gotta do some strategy here. Somehow, some way, I am picking third. Caroline has the first pick in the draft. Bronwyn will follow. I'm not going to question who drafted the snake draft choices. It was producer Nick. I will flame him on television. Anyways, all right. If we're ready, ladies, let's get this 4th of July food draft 2026 underway. Caroline Sorrow, you are on the clock.
Okay. Oh, here are my options. I was wondering what was going to go on.
This is the first. So these are the mains and sides that we got here.
Okay. This is the main. Okay, so
do you need a little look-see-loo at the second page?
No. We're
okay.
Good. We're good. Okay. All right. As my main, I select. Thank you. With the first pick in the 4th of July food draft, Team Caroline selects hot dogs. Okay.
All right, hot dogs are the first ones off the draft board. We got to move rapidly. Bronwyn, second up. You are on the clock.
Yep, I'm going ribs. I don't even need to see the. I don't even need to see it. Going ribs.
That's beautiful.
Ribs, all day, every day.
Bold.
I don't even need time. Give me burgers off the top. All right. And then into our second round, it's me. We're doing a snake draft, and I'm going to take the steal of the draft here, would I argue, and it is going to be deviled eggs. If you are a deviled egg hater, then you do not know ball. I don't know what to tell you. So deviled eggs come off the board in the second round, the first pick. Anyways, so yes, back to Bronwyn from here. What is your second selection in this food draft? And you can always let producer Nick know if you need to see the second slide.
Potato salad.
Oh. Gosh darn
Classic.
it. Okay.
American favorite.
I'm gonna have to make a call back to the draft room quickly.
Oh no.
I know. I was
Get the
really,
GM
I was
on the
really
phone.
rocking with the potato salad. It was sounding good with the hot dog. Producer Nick, can I please see the list one more time as I'm making my selection? Thank you. Excellent. Okay, Team Caroline is rocking with the watermelon because, you know, little watermelon never hurt nobody.
Yeah.
Always a nice, refreshing side on the 4th of July, I feel like, and, you know, healthy. Got to have a little fruit in there.
That's beautiful. Okay, we're going to make a rapid third round selection. I am going to
my
take.
gosh.
No, it wouldn't be me.
Yeah.
It would be me.
Oh,
outta
Caroline
here, man.
again.
This is
Okay,
a
Caroline,
snap
go. Go.
Okay. I need to see the second slide. I need to see
Pop
the
us to
second
the second slide, please. We've got drinks and
Okay.
desserts.
Oh, Lord. Beer. I'm going beer. Because America.
Period. My third pick is peach cobbler.
Oh no, this is devastating for me. I'm gonna pick ice cream, and then we're gonna hit a quick break, and we'll finish up our picks when we get back.
Whoa, the suspense.
We're jumping right back into the draft here, guys. There's no time. I'm leading off. I'm gonna take pie to go with my ice cream. Continue, Bronwyn, go.
Oof. I'm going soda.
Soda comes off the board.
okay.
Caroline, 4th pick.
Popsicles are off the board because everybody
Popsicles
needs
off
a
the board,
cold,
all right.
refreshing dessert.
Final pick, Caroline.
Oh, I'm back. Oh my gosh.
Yep.
Wait, do I get to pick a second side? Oh my gosh. Okay. Mac salad. Give it to me.
Mac salad comes off the board. Bronwyn, your final selection.
Corn on the cob.
Corn on the cob. All right, that leaves me with the final pick in this year's draft. I do believe I got
Drum roll,
kind of
please.
fleeced this year. I'm going to go with a classic lemonade, refreshing. I'm going to need a nice beverage after this hardship that I've faced today. We'll discuss this a little bit more tomorrow, and you'll get to see another draft later on this week. But that's going to do it for us today here on Palmetto Sports Daily.